Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about my real unexpected preseason quarterback of the week. Now, understand there are some guys, and there's the guy who I'm going to talk about in this video. He did not play a full game. So before we get into that, I want to shout out some of the younger guys who got a lot of reps against second and third team looks. That's DTR. DTR has been balling for Cleveland. I have to shout him out. I couldn't make a video without really touching on what he's been doing coming out of UCLA. So seeing what he's been able to do, we understand with Deshaun Watson, it's not going to be his time. I think that's the harsh reality of it. But if he continues to play like this in practice, he's going to get his opportunities sooner or later. So I think it's a bright future for him if he continues to do what he's doing right now. We know what he is as an athlete, but he showcased some good things as a passer as well. And I love to see that. My other guy's Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue, and really could have possibly went a bit higher than he went. A solid quarterback, one of the more throwback quarterbacks when I would say that he's not the dynamic athlete. He's going to kill you from the pocket. It's kind of like Tanner McKee. Shout him out because he played pretty solid for the Eagles as well. So those two guys, actually three guys, want to shout them out. But in the players that I'm talking about today, with the criteria that kind of got met from my list of why I came to this preseason quarterback of the week, it was because it's starters, but they only played one or two drives. And that was C.J. Stroud. We know he's going to start. Only played two drives, I believe. Bryce Young, we know he's going to start. Didn't get a huge sample size. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes. But the guy that I have not named yet in my preseason quarterback of the week is Derek Carr. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Derek Carr. Because the guy that I saw in the one drive, and there were a lot of people who played good football, so it's really tough when picking these players. And I probably know that what I'm saying is not consensus. Nobody's saying it. I really don't care. This is what I saw with my own eyes on the football field. That was not the Derek Carr I saw last year. Now, I watched a lot of film on Derek Carr last year. I don't even know how I got to watching Derek Carr film because it wasn't pretty. It wasn't too fun. And they had an injury-riddled receiving core. Offensive line was struggling. But when I talk about this team and that guy in Derek Carr, he was, he had pocket presence. Even in really looking at the New Orleans Saints, they protected him well in the drives that he was in there. He had pocket presence. His arm talent was alive. He had velocity to his throws. His throwing motion and his throwing power looked lively. And we did not see that last year. I promise you, if you watch Derek Carr, it looked like a sitting duck in the pocket who had no arm talent whatsoever. It was kind of straddled in the pocket, was scared to throw the football, was scared to step up in the pocket. I saw a guy who was stepping through. He made a couple throws on the run. He pushed the ball down the field. When pressure was coming, he was not straddled. He was not rattled. He was not anything. Pressure came off the edges, and he had to step up. He stepped up. Pressure came off the interior. He had to flush out. He flushed out. That was not the Derek Carr that I saw last year. So even though it's a small sample size, I still want to say I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm truly surprised. And I was wondering, kind of going back and forth, do I want to make this video? Do people care about Derek Carr? Will people really see what I'm seeing? Will people really understand how bad he was last year and how much this means this year? I guess you can kind of say the same for Russ. How bad he was last year, you kind of put some stock into that preseason drive that he had. He looked pretty solid for the Broncos. So coming to this, and even the weapons, Michael Thomas was out there, Chris Olave was out there, had Alvin Kamara, had his backs with him. So had a lot of things going for him. He went out there and had a clean drive. 6'8", 70 yards, a touchdown. The touchdown pass was beautiful. And even on the touchdown pass, show some pocket presence. Seeing that from Derek Carr, that led him to be my preseason quarterback of the week for week one, at least. I really loved everything that I saw of him. And like I said, to really understand why this is so important and why I'm talking about Derek Carr, you have to understand what he's came from. And there were a lot of things with the Raiders that really it was a lot that played into why he played like he did, but a lot of it was on Derek Carr. A lot of people tried to blame Josh McDaniels, the offensive line. The receiving corps was injured, but they still had some pretty decent guys out there, and they tried to blame everything but Derek Carr. I think the Raiders kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I saw the writing on the wall that Derek Carr was kind of done as far as being a guy who gives you the shot to go to the dance and try to win the dance. But like I said, it's way too early to say that he'll be able to do that just yet. There's some competitive teams, the Carolina Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons. You're looking at some real dogs in the NFC, but we got to think with that defense. Let me remind you, top 5 defense last year. With everything that went on, still a top 5 defense in the New Orleans Saints. So I'm putting heavy stock into that. I think this will still be another year with some guys getting better. Cameron Jordan got his deal restructured a little bit. Still got Pete Werner. Still got Demario Davis, who was one of the top linebackers in the game year in and year out. Still got some dogs on the back end. Alontae Taylor's, Marshawn Lattimore. I look at a lot of pieces on this team, and I think that defensively, they're going to try to give Derek Carr every chance he has and that he needs to win football games. But it's going to come down to him. Can Michael Thomas stay healthy? Can Chris Olave continue to put on and develop after that rookie season that we saw, which was very good out of him? You got Jamal Williams, a new addition over from the Detroit Lions. You got Alvin Kamara, who's going to come back after his suspension. And then you got Kareem Hunt. So there are some very good guys that you have in the room, and if healthy, probably a top 5 backfield as far as running back. So that's something you have. Tight ends, Jawan Johnson had a pretty good drive out there with Derek Carr. I mean, the sky could be the limit, and I don't want to jump too far in saying anything of anything, but my preseason quarterback of the week for week 1, it was Derek Carr. Let's give claps up to him. I loved everything I saw. I think he looked like an entirely different player than I saw all of last year. I think we can put the drive that he had with the New Orleans Saints, that touchdown drive, I think we can put that up with anything he had last year and say that was one of the best. That is the stock that I'm putting into that. He looks rejuvenated. He looks like he has energy, like he's doing some of the things we saw in the past with Derek Carr, the guy that came out of Fresno State, balled out at Las Vegas before falling off. So that's what we have, and that's what I want to say for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Thank you for watching as always. That's going to do it for today, and now, yeah.